At She Can, we tell women's stories. We profile women from all over the world and tell their journeys, how they got to where they are today. And it's so much easier to be what you can see. And I'm really excited to welcome Astrid Linder to She Can today. Astrid, you're the Professor of Traffic Safety at the Swedish National Road and Transport Research Institute. You're also a professor at the Chalmers University, and you're an expert in biomechanics and injury prevention. You are the person that has first introduced the first female crash test dummy for cars, and you have been included in BBC's 100 list of the most interesting women in 2023. So I'm very excited to hear your story, Astrid. And so tell us a bit more about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, thank you for that nice introduction. Just some details. I'm an adjunct professor at Chalmers, and the dummy that I have the work that I've coordinated, where we had developed the dummy, it is the world's first dummy of an average female. So just to get the details right.
Thank you for that. Astrid, so tell us a little bit more about the work you now do on a day-to-day basis, and tell us a little bit more how you got to where you are today, where you've been part of this very important development, where car crashes have now also been done on the morphology of an average woman's body, and what difference that makes.
Yeah, the background is that I was a PhD student at Chalmers University in the late 90s, and where we developed the world's first model of a for low severity re-impact addressing whiplash injuries. So these are soft tissue neck injuries that you can sustain in low severity crashes. At that time, there were no model of the human body to be used to assess how well you were protected from these injuries. And we, in the project where I was a PhD, we developed a model of an average male, because that's what we have done historically in this area. We have been the average male as a norm, and we started off like that also in this project. And during the project, I did a literature review looking at the epidemiology and injury data, which showed that women were less well protected than males when it came to this injury. And that the published literature showed this from late 60s and onwards. So I thought then, and now we are 1999, that the next logical step would be to make a model of that part of the population that have the highest risk, and to use both part of the population when we assess the protection performances. So since then, I have carried with me this thought, and as I do external funded research, then it's about identifying what needs to be done, but also to find funding to do it. So that I have done in various stages, and so we have worked together in both nationally and in by now 2 different big EU-funded projects that I have coordinated, and there we have addressed this question very broadly, of course, and sometimes very specific. So. And that's also my life today, to both work with the details, but also very broadly, and then find funding to do the work that should be done from my perspective and others' perspective, and then set together, create groups of industry, government agencies, other researchers, and then take different steps in that direction.
And we are so thankful for that, because I love that you say this is necessary. Women are 50% of the world's population, and yes, absolutely. And thankfully you've led all these research projects, and it is now something that is being done. Astrid, what would you say is your main motivator in all your projects?
Yeah, what motivates me is that to reduce reduce the risk of us losing life and health on our roads. And as you might be aware of, 1.35 million people are killed every year on our roads, and we have in the order of 20 to 50 million yearly injured. So there's a huge work to be done in terms of preventing us from losing life and health. And the good thing about this is that this is a system we have created ourselves. It's not an unknown virus. We know the fundamentals in the crash. We know how we can prevent us from losing life and health even better. And I'm an engineer, I'm a physicist, so I address this from that perspective.
Astrid, and what top qualities do you think that you have that made you good at what you do? You obviously someone with a really big vision who is then able to funnel this down into the nitty-gritty and what it means to research those areas, to run these research projects, to then get to a phase where one tests that and then brings it to market. What are your top qualities, do you think?
I have been really fortunate to be able to work with a lot of fantastic persons for decades. Started off at Chalmers with my then supervisor, Professor Mats Svensson, that has been in all my projects since then. So it's payback time, right? And also dedicated researchers, innovators, yeah, all disciplines are needed. And when you coordinate really big projects, you need like really good backup from administration, economy, and all the details to get also deliver on the project. But it's about bringing people together and finding a common something that we want to do together.
Astrid, I'm wondering, what top tips do you have? You are an engineer, you're a physicist, you've done things that are predominantly male-dominated areas. What would your top tips be for all the young girls in the STEM subjects today that have an interest in engineering or physics and have those visions of potentially bringing about change through the work that they are going to do?
Stay curious and then really protect regard that as something really important. So without curiosity, without trying to contribute in a way, then I think it's at least much more difficult. So stay curious.
Yes, thank you. Astrid, so who are your role models? Who was the one that motivated you and inspired you to keep pushing to change the status quo?
Yeah, sometimes I would formulate it as I have a fixed point in the universe, and that is actually injury data showing us that this is needed and we can do something. So that is so important that we collect data and that we have a fixed point, because if you have a fixed point in universe, then you can shift things around. Without a fixed point, then we could do this, we could do that. So it's all those individuals that contribute to that. We know where we are. We have ideas of how to make things even better and provide something even better for our children and grandchildren and beyond. So these are the things that motivates me.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that you said that, because data underpins everything that we do. And in order to bring about change, we have to have the data points. Astrid, I'm wondering, what were the pitfalls along the way? How did you overcome challenges?
By motivated by the same thing that we talked about, that this is needed. Okay, if I wasn't successful with getting funding this way, then I remembered one. I can give an example. I was 15 years there, no, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was applying for Swedish national funding to develop a physical model of an average female and an average male, like crash test dummies. And it was in a call that was addressing addressing the norm and so on, and it was regarded as not innovative enough, or no potential, or not big enough potential. And then I got then I thought, okay, what more can I do? I explained the need and so on, and I got somebody suggested that, okay, but then make it bigger. Okay, how do I make it bigger? How do I put this in a context? So then a bigger context, because this was obviously not big enough. And that money I applied for nationally was, let's see, 250,000 euros. Then we made a big EU-funded project, proposal for the Commission, asked for 7 million euros and got it.
I love that you set this example, because that's really showing that sometimes one needs to go big.
You bet.
Astrid, so what are your plans and goals for the next years for your work and for you?
Now, as you highlighted, we have created this both the average female and the average male model for low severity impact testing, and the logical next step here is to use it in the assessment of new cars. That is, of course, not the case today, because the regulation says that you have to use a model of an average male, and this hasn't existed before, so we don't write things in our standards and testing protocols that doesn't exist. So from that perspective, it is about bringing this out in society, but also to have it used when we assess the safety of new cars, because so far we are limited to looking at injury statistics and injury data showing us how different cars protect both the male and the female part of the population, but yet it's not used in the assessment of new cars.
Yeah, so you have a really big mission, Astrid, and I'm so thankful for telling your story today. There is so much work to be done, and I'm incredibly thankful for your level of service, because that is going to really change women's lives by being safer on the road, and it will have many less people dying from accidents.
And of course, we and I are addressing the whole population. So this is something that you do, I do, and we do to really increase safety for all.
Yeah. Thank you so much for talking to me today, Astrid.
My pleasure.